So, decision fatigue is something that's affected us all at one time or another. But salad cream boy you, epic source of information I hear you ask, what exactly is it? Gather round viewer and allow me to enlighten you.
Danger! Warning! The content that you are about to consume may be deemed as helpful. If at any point that you find that this is the case, we would suggest that you boop the like button and subscribe for more on mental well-being.
So, as you asked earlier, what exactly is decision fatigue? Simply put, making many decisions throughout the day makes the ability of someone to make further decisions worse. And for people experiencing this type of fatigue, making the right decisions may be more difficult as the day goes on. Decision fatigue is a psychological phenomenon that centers around people's ability and capacity to be able to make decisions. This is also called ego depletion. The theory behind this is that a human's ability to make decisions gets worse after making many of them during the day, where their brain gets more fatigued. This fatigue applies to all decisions and not just the large or difficult and complex ones. If it helps, just think of a person's decision-making ability a finite source, which basically means it has limits, not unlike a battery. Each decision reduces the charge of that battery, so the person has less energy available to make decisions later on. Okay, so what causes it? The underlying cause may have something to do with the person's stress levels and the amount of decisions they have to make that day. And the weight of these decisions also matters. Most people have to make a large amount of decisions each day from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to sleep. Some examples of simple decisions may be the type of clothing they wear, what to have for breakfast, or it may be even as simple as what to listen to on the way to work. The larger things may include things like business decisions, social interactions, and even leisure time may have their own inherent decisions which the person needs to weigh up and make, whether that be consciously or subconsciously. The more complex choices may deplete energy levels faster. As the day goes on and a person needs to make more and more decisions, their ability to choose wisely decreases. And we're going to get into how to combat this in just a minute. But before we do, I think it's important to know what the signs and the effects are first. Okay, so the big sign of decision fatigue is that you may feel more tired or have things like brain fog, or show other signs of mental and even physical fatigue. This may increase as you start making more and more decisions throughout the day. As this increases as you start to make more decisions, you may start to feel worse and more drained as the day goes on. So decision fatigue may manifest itself in different ways, depending on how it may affect each person. So the following are some potential effects. Impulse buying. Some people can recognise this in grocery stores where the candy or the baked goods, and more importantly the special deals, are placed at the checkout counters near the end of your shop. As a person makes a load of decisions as they're shopping within the store, they're less likely to resist these quick deals at the counter. Trade-offs. So a trade-off is a decision between two options, where each option has both positive and negative elements. You might be reluctant to make the decision between them, take longer to make the decision, or you may make a decision that you'll regret later. Decision avoidance. Some people may neglect, avoid, or even ignore decisions completely when they feel drained. You might feel drawn to make the default decision or the decision that's more socially acceptable, rather than the one that's actually right for you. Procrastination is actually another form of decision avoidance. This is where the person puts off making that decision off until another day, or until the need to make it is just gone. And finally, before we get on to how to combat this, let's just quickly go over the risk factors. So someone is at more risk of experiencing decision fatigue if they have to make multiple decisions throughout the day, feel greatly affected by the decisions they make very stressful decisions, make very complex decisions, make decisions that affect other people in a significant way. And one of the most important risk factors is that if they need to make a decision that affects another person's choices. Right then, and now for the moment that I've all been waiting for. Sorry, that or that you have all been waiting for. How exactly do we combat decision fatigue? So it may start with changing the patterns of belief surrounding willpower. People who may train themselves to enjoy making decisions may not feel the effects as much. And some slight changes in daily habits may help you to combat decision fatigue. For example, you could try making important decisions first. So, as I said earlier, every decision depletes a person's energy levels. So, it's actually more important to make the bigger and more complex decisions earlier in the day. Whether that be a tough phone call, a hard project, or just another difficult task. Making important decisions early may help combat decision fatigue when faced with these choices later, because you've already made them. Removing distractions. So the choice to engage in distractions which may pull a person away from the project at hand can be a form of decision fatigue. So choosing to look at your phone, browsing social media, or even glancing at the TV can help take away all that willpower for the tasks that you have to perform later. Removing these distractions can help you combat decision fatigue and help you get on with the task at hand. Simplifying your wardrobe. Some people, like, believe it or not, Steve Jobs for example, simplify routine choices such as their wardrobe and instead wear a similar outfit each day. Simplifying decisions like these can take the stress away from the first decisions of the day as they've already been made. Planning meals. You might want to consider making a meal plan and preparing your meals for the week ahead. This can reduce decision-making power in a moment and save it for more important things later in the day. Make sure you're taking breaks. Physical fatigue actually, believe it or not, plays a big part in decision fatigue. A lot of people actually make worse decisions when they're tired. Taking rest breaks throughout the day as needed can help you recharge. Some people actually take a quick nap to help refresh their brain. Unless of course you're anything like me, where every time that you take a siesta, you wake up not knowing what year it is. Now, there's just one last thing that I'd like to ask you. So if you got any value from the content in this video, I'd like you to consider booping that like button and subscribing for any more tips on mental well-being. Because it's like I always say, at the end of the day, it gets dark.